Hello, I'm Samson Rainey from AGU, and we are back. And today I am talking with Tom Berger, a space weather researcher at UC Boulder, as well as editor of one of our journals, JGR, Machine Learning and Computation. Tom, thanks so much for joining us today.
You're welcome, Samson. Thank you for having me.
So how was yesterday's eclipse for you?
Oh, it's fantastic. As you saw, the clouds broke just in time, and we got almost the entire totality. Beautiful. There were great prominences visible by eye. I got some nice photographs with my robotic telescope that I brought. So, yeah.
Were you related to any of the observations that were going out there, or you were more?
No, just an amateur.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I know that the journal is fairly new, right? Because I think we just started asking for submissions roughly at AGU 23.
Right. Yeah. It was announced at AGU 23, and we started getting submissions right around that time. We've now had well over 100.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
So yeah,
it's great.
It's going great.
Well, I know that journal, JGR, Machine Learning Computation, covers the breadth of Earth science, or geosciences actually, right?
Yep.
So what is it particular about eclipse-related research that you can see machine learning taking us to the next level?
Well, in particular, I focus on the space weather aspects of the journal and the machine learning, and that is the connection of the sun with the Earth. So, of course, an eclipse is a great visual reminder that we actually live in the corona of the sun. And the sun is continually, of course, interacting with the Earth, setting the temperature, but also the plasma interacting with our magnetosphere, causing geomagnetic activity, things like this. So machine learning we see as really the future of prediction of space weather. It's one thing to study the sun and the Earth and the interactions in order to understand them, and that's more the role of basic science and basic space physics. Space weather in particular is focused on prediction of can we predict when the sun is going to have an eruption? Can we predict when there's going to be a large change in the solar wind and how that's going to affect the magnetosphere? And prediction is where machine learning really shines, because you're data driven. You're not trying to do a model which has its shortcomings in missing physics or parameterizations. You're just looking at the data and you're just trying to get the patterns out of it and project those into the future. So we see machine learning as sort of the future of prediction of space physics and space weather in particular.
And it's the holy grail, if you would say, in the field?
Right now, we are nowhere near the skill of normal weather prediction in space weather. We're far behind. And the main reason for that is because we lack the data that they have for terrestrial weather prediction. We're getting more and more data, and that's where, again, machine learning can feed off. The more data we get, the more machine learning and the more data-driven models we can develop for forecasting. And so we hope within 10, 20 years we can be at that level of terrestrial weather today, where we're predicting very accurately 2 to 3 days ahead of what's going to happen out there.
So the predictive part, is that all these features that we've been focusing on the eclipse, some on the corona, some on the ionosphere interactions, are we trying to tighten up the just basic understanding of all those processes from the origin all the way to its interaction in the ionosphere? Is that where we need help everywhere? Or
we're really trying to focus on the events. There's these large, magnetic eruptions that occur on the sun, and they throw out coronal mass ejections, and they cause flaring. Those events are right now complete surprises, essentially. And we're trying to get to the point where we can predict those eruptions, and then we can predict when they're going to impact the Earth, and then ultimately how the magnetosphere and the ionosphere and the upper atmosphere are going to interact to cause the geomagnetic storm effect, which is the big effect from the solar output for space.
Okay. So
the aurora, things like that, are all from the geomagnetic storming after the sun's plasma output reaches Earth.
So machine learning, it can take us far with the data we currently have, and also as we just add more to the data sets for these observations, we're going to continue to push the ball forward.
That's right. You can also do experiments with machine learning to show what sort of observations would be helpful in the future to incorporate into existing models. Okay. So it interacts with what's called data assimilation, where you have a physics-based model, but you assimilate actual data into that model in order to push it towards reality. And physics-based models need a lot of help
Right.
to get to reality. A basic weather model, the only reason we get a good weather forecast is because they assimilate data. Every 6 hours, they put about 100 million data points into the model and push it towards reality.
Getting space weather to where our weather models are.
Right.
Cool. So what makes the journal stand out for you compared to other similar journals out there?
I think it's really the focus on the data-driven modeling, the machine learning. We also cover computational advances. And so we have a unique forum for, sort of really catching that leading wave, if you will, of data-driven science that you don't find in other journals. You find other journals focusing on the traditional basic research in science, and sometimes they'll have machine learning incorporated. We're kind of turning that on its head and saying we want to focus on the machine learning, the innovations that are coming from that, and what they can do for, in particular, in my case, space weather forecasting. But as you mentioned, we have other earth science applications like seismology, earthquake detection, and prediction, things like that. So,
very cool. And lastly, how do you enjoy being an editor? I don't know if you've ever gotten asked that question before.
No, I'm relatively new. This is the first time I've been an editor. I do like it because I'm interacting with associate editors. I get to interact with authors. I get to see the papers before they're out. So you're getting to preview the cutting edge of the new data-driven science.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Tom, for your time today.
You're welcome.
We have a great rest of the meeting, and we look forward to seeing some big science come out of the journal soon.
Me too.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you.